Hey everybody, it's Jared Miller with Bigmil Motorsports. We just ran our first dirt race and learned a couple things. Okay, learned a lot of things. All in all, the car worked well. The setup I had in it was pretty good, I think. I don't know. I don't really have a different concept on a setup, but I'm going to keep trying that setup again. Make some tweaks to it a little bit, see if I can get the car to turn more. It seemed like it was really hard for me to get rotated in the corner, so I was like pushing all the way into the corner. But washed the car on Sunday, and everything's clean. Came out and just scaled everything and checked my post-race measurements, and everything looks pretty good. Couple things I learned. There's actually more grip on dirt than I thought there would be, even though you're like sliding around a whole lot. It's real fun when you've got the gas pedal. Means so much more. You're feathering. Even my right foot actually was kind of cramping up at the end of the night just from modulating the gas pedal so much. So that was a blast. That was fun. Used tear-offs for the first time, which I know sounds like pretty simple, but learned a couple things with that. If you pull a tear off while you don't have your visor all the way clicked down, it's just going to flip up your visor. So I learned that. Luckily, it was under caution and not during the race, or not during race time. The other thing is, pulling a tear off is way harder than it looks on TV, or way harder than it looks when you see these other videos. Now, maybe I've got them too tight or whatever, but man, I really had to yank the crap to get those things off, which I guess that means they're not going to fall off. But all in all, the car did well. I think I did well. I managed to get 6th. There were 20 cars that showed up. 18 made the feature, and I started 6th and finished 6th. Got passed, and then I passed some people too. So it was fun. It was great. I'm actually going back through the schedule now, and I was planning on running maybe 1 race a month or 2 races a month on dirt. Now I'm going back and looking at the schedule and adding pretty much every dirt race that I can find back onto the schedule. So that will be probably 2 or 3 races a month, mostly at Brush Creek, but I think we're going to try to do a Portsmouth, a couple atomic speedways, things like that. I'd love to be able to see what the difference is with actual dirt tires. That was one of the things. Our series only runs on the Federals, and so I'm going to try. I'd love to try the dirt tires sometime. Probably not in the beginning here. The other thing interesting, the features, at least where we were at Brush Creek, were only 15 laps long. So one of the whole night in the grand scheme of it, when you think about it, I had somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 laps all night long. There were 4 laps for practice, and the fastest of those was your qualifying time, which my first time on dirt was extremely nerve-wracking because it's, hey, learn it, and oh, by the way, this is where you're going to start. And then the heat race, I believe, was 8 laps. So that was pretty good learning for me. I was still learning through most of that. And then the feature at 15 laps, which is odd. I've been racing. This is my 8th year racing Legends. And I think the shortest race I've ever raced up until last weekend was 20 laps, 25. I've ran 50 lap features, 75 lap features, and a couple 100 lap features. So that was a little disappointing. I wish we'd run more laps than that. Even 5 more laps at 20 would make it fantastic. Just more seat time. You get to learn more. I think on the dirt, there's so much more that changes. There's a lot more that you can learn as you go throughout the race, and to me, that's fun. The learning aspect of that. But either way, it was a good time. I'm still going to go back, and we'll see how we get better as we go throughout the year. I'll do a couple of these kind of talking about how things are going and what we're working on. Not racing this weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. This is there weren't any dirt races in our area anyway. There was a dirt race about 7 hours away, and and I would have needed dirt tires and a whole lot of stuff. And at my newbie-ness on the dirt, I really kind of didn't want to go down that path right now. So I'm going to sit on the couch and watch racing all day Sunday in all the different forms of racing that are out there. Actually, everything but dirt racing. So anyway, I'll try to finish working on the garage. As you can see behind me, the garage is still a complete pit. I've got a lot of the insulation up, except for a small area over there, and I'm getting the wall paneling up. Then I'll just need to kind of, for lack of a better term, mud the joints and then paint, and I should be decent. So probably this weekend I'll get the rest of this insulation up and start getting more of the wall boards up. I did want to point out one thing. I plumbed my entire shop for air. I got a air compressor, and you can kind of see it right there in the back corner there. I got it from Lowe's, obviously. But I ran 3/4 inch furnace pipe throughout the entire shop. I've got, let's see, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planned drops where I'll have access to the air. One by the air compressor. I've got one on either side of the door. As you can see, I've got one there, and I've got another one over there. Got one in the middle on a hose reel, and then I've got, once I get the wall boards over here, I've got the line started to run, and then I just got to go run down the wall there. But in doing that, I was researching fittings and air fittings and things like that. And I knew from work that they had high flow couplers out there, and so I was looking for them. And I already had been using these Flexzilla hoses. I've got one in our trailer that we use, and I've got one in our shop here that we use. So I ended up buying all of the Flexzilla high flow couplers here. So both on the male side and the female side. They're bigger ID, so you get more CFM of air, which allows your tools to run better. So as you can see, I've got the Flexzilla fittings here. This is just a coupling, or a coupler there. You can see on the other part of the garage. Obviously my hose reel, I bought a Flexzilla hose reel. And fitting at the end of that, mounted it up there in my fancy custom box that recesses it up there. And then I bought fittings for all my tools. So you can see here my toolbox, at least most of my air tools, if they're not laying out on my workbench somewhere. I bought the high flow fittings there, and you can see how big of a diameter those are that really open that up. But it was interesting. So I'd had this air hose a while, put the new high flow fittings on there, and maybe a week or two after using it and going through all that stuff, my wife using it to check the air on her tires and everything. The O-ring inside here actually came out. Didn't know it, so I'm completely at a loss as to where it went. But, it wouldn't seal right. It would still connect, but it would leak by a lot of air. And so I was thinking, okay, well, it was probably my fault. No big deal. It wouldn't be the first time I screwed something up, right? So I called up Flexzilla, which in my research, I actually found out Flexzilla is a product line of Legacy Manufacturing, I believe, and they are based in Iowa. So that's my home state. For those of you that don't know. So for me, I was like, woohoo, right there. Didn't even know I was buying home state stuff there. But either way, I emailed them and I asked, I said, hey, do you guys sell the O-rings? Where can I buy the O-rings? Mine fell out and I need to get a replacement O-ring. Really nice guy, and I honestly don't know his name right now. Emailed me back, gave me, they don't sell them, but gave me the spec on the O-rings. And then said, oh, by the way, I'll just go ahead and send you a new coupling, which is fantastic. And you hear a lot of that stuff. You don't know about it. But then a day or two ago in the mail, a new coupling. So a new coupling right there, high flow from Flexzilla. I didn't pay shipping. I didn't pay for the part. And I believe this is like a $3 or $4 part right here. So Not, not 10 cents that the O-ring would have been. But I just wanted to give props to Flexzilla for that. Really standing behind their products and nice enough that I didn't even ask. And they went out and sent me a repair piece for it, or the replacement piece for it. So I wanted to give them props. Obviously, you don't see a ton of sponsors on my car, and you don't see a ton of, me giving a ton of props to people that, that I'm paying for a whole bunch of stuff. So we get a lot of help, but we also pay for a lot of help. And so, when I pay for the help, that's kind of what I have expected, and maybe that's just me being an a-hole, but that's my perspective. When you're the guy sponsoring your own car, paying all your own bills, I haven't gotten sponsor money for a single thing on my car in the last 8 years. So for me, if I pay for it, I'm there. But Flexzilla, on the other hand, and they're not paying me anything, and they didn't give me this coupler because I'm gonna give them props and all that kind of stuff. But that's pretty upstanding, and I'm pretty happy. All the rest of the fittings I use, obviously, I told you I've got them in my trailer, I've got them in the shop, I've got all these fittings around here. I'm really happy with them, and my tools actually do seem to run better. Some of my air tools are crappy, old air tools, and they just seem to run a lot better because of the higher CFM that they got there. So anyway, I just wanted to give Legacy Manufacturing and Flexzilla kind of shout out there. I appreciate that. Other than that, just going to get the car ready for, I think, the weekend after Memorial Day weekend. So I don't know if that's the 9th or 10th or something like that. I think we go back to Brush Creek. So we'll check it out. It's been fantastic. I want to thank Steve Parton at Brush Creek. Kind of runs all the systems there. And thank Todd McCullum at Kyle Beatty Racing for the hookup on the tires. He did me a special cut for dirt on Federal on these tires, and I think it worked. I mean, obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. And he helped me a little bit with my setup. So thanks, Todd. I appreciate that. Other than that, I guess I'll see you guys later. I'll try to post another video if I can, getting the car ready for the next race. If not, I'll have my race videos for the next Brush Creek race. All right. Thank you.